I'm Terry Saka, and this is Rigged Against You. Today, we're going to discuss crypto and gold is the future, and I'm going to show you why. This is going to be a brief one, but I want you to see why. It's very simple, but why this fourth turning transformation has to take place. And when I say fourth turning, you can get the book and read it. It's actually fantastic. But if you go back 80 years in America, every 80 years, we've had major transformations of our society. And I know people ask, well, what is it? What's coming? That's the fourth turning. Go back 80 years, World War II. Go back to the Civil War, back to 1776, 80-year increments. We have had major upheavals and transformation in our society, and we are in a fourth turning right now. You hear a lot of people say Great Reset. I think the Great Reset has changed a little bit because commodities have shifted and who's controlling them. I think we're going into a major reset. Why crypto is going to be a big player? Because it has to. So before I get going, please consider subscribing, hit the notification. I don't do many of these, but when I do, it's really valuable information for you to make decisions for your future. But crypto and gold are playing a major role in what is coming because this fourth turning, basically the world in fiat currency. Now, mind you, when I say fiat, this stuff is going bust. Now, this one particularly is an actual silver certificate. So it's a little bit different. This actually was redeemable for 1 ounce of silver. Back then, they were each worth $1. Today, if I would have just kept the silver instead of my paper dollar, I would have $60 because silver is over $60 instead of just one. So for those that are sitting in cash, you are missing the opportunity of a lifetime and a wealth transfer you will regret. But just understand, this is just a time and season. We are in this fourth turning, which is a major transformation. And what is it? We're done financially. We're broke. Europe is broke. The United States is in more debt than any nation in the history of the world. I think Trump's got a great idea with tariffs, killing taxation. I mean, there's so many great plans. Unfortunately, Democrats won't allow it. The radical judges are going to stop. And we do have rhino Republicans getting in the way. If Trump had his way, this country would be economically booming. Let's just pray that he can continue to do that. But he knows crypto's it. President Trump is, his family anyway, is majorly involved in crypto. And so when you hear the word crypto, understand 99% of them will go to zero. They're worthless, especially meme coins. But there's the utility cryptos. These are the mechanisms and mechanics behind the scenes. And just recently, the CFTC came out and approved XRP as a collateral asset in the derivative market. This is a really big deal. Basically, XRP is being treated like gold. But being that it is allowed to go into the derivative market like this and used as collateral, it's serious, meaning there will be trillions of dollars going into the asset. The prices will rise because it has to be stable. And this is just the beginning. 80% of Japanese banks are using XRP. I've talked about the carry trade, basically where they used to borrow Japanese currency or the Japanese banks, and investors used to be able to get their currency at zero interest. And that's what kept the American markets afloat for a long time. Well, Japan is forced now to raise interest rates. They're in deep trouble. And so they have to basically unwind all the investments in the United States and get back to Japan and unwind those loans. And so we're seeing a big rush of currency leaving, and that's called the carry trade, or now the reverse carry trade for the Japanese yen. But there's a big problem in Japan, and that's why they've sold $200 billion in U.S. treasuries and bought gold. And you know, by the side note, who's the biggest buyer of gold is right now? Tether, stablecoin. Interesting, isn't it? Tether's been used by the U.S. government to buy U.S. treasuries, but yet Tether is buying a lot of gold. I contend gold is going to be revalued. When it does, it adds trillions of dollars to the treasury instantly through gold certificates that they would give to the Federal Reserve. And that's why I believe gold could see the light of day of $20,000 an ounce. By then, it'll be too late. You won't get your hands on it. And I'd probably be holding American Gold Eagles. Who knows? They could confiscate other gold. But there's a big deal with this. This is a really huge opportunity when it comes into revaluation. And I still believe there's a plan to add a 50-year treasury bond backed by gold. I think Trump has got a lot of gold people behind him. There is so much going on, folks. And this is very, very good news. But crypto has to be the future. You're seeing it now. They're pushing people in Europe into the digital ID, digital currency world. And they're telling them in England now, if you don't have a digital ID, you can no longer get a job. But the problem is with digital ID here in the United States, it's basically the yellow star on our driver's license called Real ID. That was fine with me. It's like, okay, you verify who's who. But it's deeper. Digital ID will basically tie your profile, your buying, your spending, your social profile, your medical, your vaccination, all tying to your bank accounts. Bad, bad, bad. I believe it's the beginning of the mark of the beast, but it's a bad situation. But they're pushing it in Europe. In Vietnam, they demanded that you go into digital ID, which biometrics, meaning give up your eyeballs, face scans, fingerprints. If you don't go into digital ID in Vietnam, they were closing your bank accounts. 86,000 people in Vietnam got their bank accounts closed because they refused to do the digital ID. And if many of you think, oh, that's just Vietnam, that is a test pilot. If you take on the digital ID platform and accept it, you're bringing down America. We must say no to digital ID tied to the banking system, CBDCs tied to the banking system. Republicans tried to make CBDCs illegal, but we need 60 votes in the Senate in order to pass that. No Democrats will allow it. That's why if you have Democrat friends, you need to lean in on them. Forget the single issue political issues. Fact, period. Democrats will take us to CBDC, digital ID, link in our bank accounts, and we will be slaves. Period. Republicans do not want to do that. But we can't pass the law making CBDC illegal because they still hold that 60 vote threshold, which I believe President Trump's correct. Nuke it, hit the nuclear plan. And drop that threshold and pass these laws. But they won't do it. But I'll bet you if Democrats take control, they will. You can't trust them. So I would be leaning. I'm not even friendly anymore if I know you're a Democrat, because it just tells me immediately you're a fool and you're ignorant. You don't understand that they're taking us into this slave state. In the meantime, President Trump has said he is going to give us a choice of money. So we have a stable coin, which is Tether USD, Circle USD. We now have Ripple, which is the RL USD stable coin. And you're going to see a lot of banks and institutions creating stable coins. But here's the thing to understand. Stable coins are going to be their form of digital dollar. But the problem is they need rails to connect. So each stablecoin has to be on a rail to connect to each other. It's like a train that's going from Denver to Santa Fe. You have to get on the train tracks. You need rails in crypto, the utility type like XRP, to connect these stablecoins. That's why XRP is so valuable. XLM will be part of peer-to-peer, kind of similar to Apple Cash. HBAR, Hedera, will be part of tokenization. And no, tokenization is coming, means every asset, Larry Fink has said it, Once the Clarity Act passes, which Republicans, what are you doing? You should have, they haven't passed anything except that beautiful bill. I don't know what they do. They're just so terrible at politics compared to Democrats. They have control. They should be jamming all these bills through. They should be making bills to cover executive orders, but they don't. But all I know is we're this close. And if we can get this done, we can actually have forms of money that we can use. Like Trump wants us to use digital form if we choose to, which could be crypto, stablecoin. But then he also wants us to have a choice to use cash. If a Democrat gets in, they will go central bank control tied to your bank account. We will be slaves. So a really, really big deal, but they're test piloting it now around the world. And basically, if you don't sign up, your bank account gets closed. Does that sound like the preempt to the mark of the beast to you? It does me. And that's just what we're dealing with. So here's kind of a quick, few images of what we're dealing with here. Unbelievable stuff. But this is basically the inflation to employment, and we know employment is just down. There's layoffs everywhere. Look at the skyrocket of inflation in US dollars. It's not good. And here's the best way to break it down. That's why when people are talking politics, and I don't really like talking politics, but I'm realizing Democrats are communists, and it's flat out now off my radar. I'm an old army guy, and I fought to stop communism and the Berlin Wall. I can't stand communists or socialists. They are evil and they are un-American. But look at the era of inflation. Under Obama, up dramatically. Under Trump, it was down. And then started to rise once Biden took over because they did that 1.7 trillion bill. And then look at under Biden how escalating inflation was. This is huge, and why our currency, our dollar, is in deep trouble. Trump is trying to lower this, but look at Biden, how much inflation that Obama and Biden brought to this country. And then look at President Trump, nothing. He brought it down. So for anyone who wants to talk politics, that's what I'm saying. If you don't like the fact you're paying 300% more for rent and food and all this other stuff is through the roof, blame a Democrat, because that chart's not lying. The fact is, crypto and gold are running the world because the banking system is done. Our dollar is done. The world is getting away from the dollar. The BRICS are moving away from the dollar in trade. We have to do something. And so I think the mix of having crypto become prominent in the digital space, XRP and others, of course, Bitcoin will be there too. I'm sure, even though I'm not a fan of Bitcoin much, I get it. But there's others. Ethereum is going to be great because it has a great platform for a lot of different apps and tokens. There are great cryptos, and gold is paramount. That's why Tether's buying gold. I think they're going to use that to give to the Treasury when they go into the 50-year Treasury-backed bond. So much is going on behind the scenes, but you have to understand that here in America, why our finances are in such bad shape, why they must flip the switch into the fourth turning, radical change, new financial system. And then here's another one to just give you an idea of inflation. This is, let me make it a little bigger. This is average past due utility balances at all-time high. Look at that since Biden took over. Look how many people have past due utility bills and how much they've gone up from $600 to almost $800 just for energy. This is a problem in the United States. This is why we are in so much trouble. And then you go look at the banking system, and I like to show this one too. This is the amount of liquidity that's in the banking system. We had 2.6 trillion and now we have nothing, like 5 billion. In the reverse repo market, the Federal Reserve is now printing currency, issuing fake debt out of thin air, and they have to print trillions to provide. The reason the stock market went up for these handful of years is because of that big green mountain. They printed a lot of money and there was a lot of liquidity. As you can see on the right, the liquidity is gone. Everything has changed. American economy is not what you think. Trump's trying his hardest, but he's dealing with so many traitors and enemies of this nation. And he knows he needs to give us a choice of money to choose. But all I know is going forward, crypto and gold are going to be the new standard of our financial system. Are you going to be a part of it? Now, that's silver, because silver is going to places many won't believe. I would highly recommend diversifying away from that stock market before it sells off and get yourself in. And if you think silver at $70 is high, you're going to be kidding yourself when you see where it's going. So until next time, God bless you. And I hope you have a wonderful Merry Christmas. I'm happy because I'm in the right place. Put yourself in the right place. You will be fine too. I think God has given those with wisdom to see and understand the ability to be blessed so we can bless others. And all I can say is for many Christians, get your head out of the sand. Your financial advisors have been wrong. You're not making the returns that you could be, and you're going to miss a unbelievable wealth transfer. Why? Because this is your retirement and your future. And so I'm looking at the positive side, even though we're in a fourth turning. I get that change is not comfortable for a lot of people. We're not stopping this. We will not stop this from happening. So why not educate yourself, understand the world of crypto, be diversified, have commodities, considering we're in a commodity super cycle, be in the right place. So you're not one of those holding the bag when that stock market crashes and corrects. Warren Buffett's sitting on $400 billion for a reason. He knows it's coming. And then if you do and you hold on, you're going to just have to wait years to break even. Why miss that opportunity to secure not just your future, but the future for your children's children's children? So if I don't podcast again before the end of the year, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. If something really important comes up, I'll put one more out. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2026. God bless you.
With all of the recent changes in the political and financial markets, there has never been a better time than right now to invest in silver and gold. When governments simply print billions of dollars in paper money in hopes of solving financial shortfalls, you know that it is time to buy and hold assets of true and lasting value. Free information is available to you right now by calling 888-747-3309. Whether you are a new investor or you're interested in preserving the value of your retirement accounts, we make it easy for you to make smart decisions for your financial future. The specialists at Cornerstone are here to serve you, work to satisfy your retirement goals, and communicate with respect. Call us right now at 888-747-3309. That's 888-747-3309. Or visit us online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com. That's cornerstoneassetmetals.com.